Delegation mastery, letting go without losing control. Delegation mastery is about releasing control without losing clarity or results. As a leader, knowing how to delegate effectively is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. It allows you to scale your leadership impact, empower your team, and focus your energy where it matters most. This course will guide you through the principles of strategic delegation, from understanding the psychology behind delegation challenges to adopting a clear framework for assigning responsibilities. You'll explore how to avoid common delegation pitfalls and learn how delegation differs from simply handing off tasks. Whether you're a new engineer, managing a team, or a technical contributor preparing for future leadership, this guide will equip you with the tools to delegate with purpose, clarity, and confidence. By the end, you'll be prepared to lead with influence, not just effort, by developing others while advancing your own strategic priorities. Course agenda. In this course, we will walk through the critical aspects of effective delegation, structured for maximum learning and impact. First, we'll examine why delegation is a leadership superpower, how it enables you to extend your influence and elevate your team. Then, we'll dive into the cost of poor delegation, identifying what happens when delegation goes wrong. You'll learn to recognize common pitfalls that sabotage delegation efforts and understand how to avoid them. Next, we'll introduce the Delegation Spectrum Framework, a tool for matching the level of autonomy to the situation. We'll then cover the 7-step delegation framework, a practical guide to assigning and managing delegated tasks. Later, we'll explore how delegation acts as a development tool, especially for building leadership pipelines. Special focus will also be placed on remote or hybrid delegation strategies, followed by a comparison of delegation versus abdication. Finally, we'll wrap up with a transition from control to empowerment and conclude with 10 key takeaways and open Q&A. Why delegation is a leadership superpower. Delegation isn't just a management tactic, it's a multiplier of leadership. By delegating effectively, you can scale your output far beyond your personal bandwidth. Instead of being the bottleneck, you become a force multiplier. Leveraging your team's capabilities increases your collective impact and builds capacity for the future. Delegation also fosters team development. By giving team members ownership, you create leadership pipelines and prepare your people for more complex challenges. Delegation enables you to shift your attention from tactical execution to strategic priorities. When you invest your time in what matters most, you drive innovation and long-term value. Delegation builds trust and autonomy, helping your team become more motivated, engaged, and accountable. In fact, Gallup research shows that managers who delegate well see a 33% increase in team engagement. Delegation isn't about doing less. It's about achieving more by empowering others to rise. The cost of poor delegation. Poor delegation carries significant risks, not just for productivity, but for team morale and retention. Micromanagement is one of the most common consequences. When employees aren't trusted to own tasks, they become disengaged. Their motivation drops, and their sense of responsibility erodes. Overburdened managers also suffer. When everything must pass through them, deadlines get missed, and projects stall. Bottlenecks form, slowing down decision-making and frustrating the team. Poor delegation leads to high turnover. Talented individuals leave when they're underutilized or feel stifled. This talent drain can severely weaken a team's future potential. Most importantly, leaders who cling too tightly to every detail limit not only their team's growth, but their own. Holding on too long reduces scalability, hampers innovation, and prevents others from stepping up. Delegation isn't a nice-to-have. It's a must-have for sustaining performance and developing a resilient, empowered team culture. Common delegation pitfalls. Many managers struggle to delegate due to both psychological and practical barriers. The first pitfall is thinking, "It's easier if I just do it myself." While this may save time in the short term, it creates dependency and prevents your team from developing essential skills. A better approach is to start with small tasks and expand delegation gradually. Second is perfectionism or control issues. When you over-police delegated work or constantly rework it, you send the message that only your way is acceptable. Instead, define good enough outcomes and focus on results, not process. Third, unclear expectations can sabotage even the best intentions. Vague instructions or poorly defined success criteria set your team up for confusion and failure. Solve this by using clear delegation briefs. Lastly, there's fear of losing status or authority. Effective leaders redefine themselves not as doers, but as multipliers, those who enable others to succeed at a higher level. The delegation spectrum. Delegation is not one size fits all. It exists on a spectrum, ranging from high control to high autonomy. Understanding where a task falls on this spectrum is key to effective leadership. At level 1, you direct and supervise closely, perfect for junior employees or high-risk tasks. At level 2, you provide a plan and check progress, offering structure with some freedom. At level 3, you set the goal and let others choose the method, empowering them to innovate. Level 4 represents full ownership, where the delegate assumes responsibility with minimal oversight. High-control tasks tend to be manager-led, while high-autonomy tasks are team member-led. Examples range from assigning a report format at level 1 to leading a client project at level 4. The key is matching the level of control to the context. Remember, don't just delegate tasks. Delegate responsibilities and results. This builds ownership and enables long-term growth for both individuals and teams. The 7-step delegation framework. Delegation becomes repeatable and effective when grounded in structure. The 7-step delegation framework offers a reliable process for assigning work, setting expectations, and building trust. Step 1 is choosing the right task. Look for outcome-based, developmental, or repetitive tasks that free you for strategic work. Step 2 is selecting the right person. Evaluate their skills, interests, growth potential, and reliability. Step 3 involves clarifying the desired outcome. Define success with clear deliverables, deadlines, and KPIs. Step 4 is providing context and authority. Explain why the task matters and where they have decision-making power. Step 5 is agreeing on a check-in schedule. Set feedback loops and escalation paths. Step 6 is coaching without interfering. Resist micromanaging. Guide only as needed. Step 7 is closing the loop. Debrief, recognize efforts, and capture lessons learned. This framework empowers both leader and delegate by aligning clarity, accountability, and mutual respect. Step 1-3, setting up delegation success. The first 3 steps of effective delegation lay the foundation for success. Step 1, choose the right task. Focus on outcome-based tasks with clearly defined goals, developmental tasks that build capability, or repetitive tasks that free you for higher value work. Step 2, select the right person. Consider their current skill level, availability, and past performance. Also assess their interest in the task and their potential for growth. Reliability is key. Has this person followed through in the past? Step 3, clarify the desired outcome. Be specific. Define what success looks like, the expected deliverables, deadlines, and performance indicators. Also, establish constraints or boundaries. What's within their decision-making scope and what's not. A powerful question to guide this process is, who can grow from this opportunity, and who has earned the next level of trust? Effective delegation starts with thoughtful matching of tasks and people, and ends with shared clarity on the intended results. Step 4-7, empower, support, and close the loop. The final 4 steps in the delegation framework focus on empowerment and continuous support. Step 4, provide context and authority. Help them see how their task fits into the larger mission. Be clear about which decisions they can make independently and who they should coordinate with. Step 5, agree on a check-in schedule. Decide how often to review progress, when to escalate issues, and what milestones will trigger feedback sessions. Step 6. Coach, don't interfere. Ask guiding questions, offer feedback only at agreed times, and avoid jumping in to fix things unless absolutely necessary. Empowerment means letting others struggle and learn. Step 7. Close the loop with review and recognition. Host a debrief to understand what worked and what can be improved. Acknowledge effort and celebrate wins. Capture learnings to inform future delegation. These steps help you build trust, improve performance, and develop confident, capable contributors who are ready for more. Delegation as a development tool. Delegation is not just about getting work done. It's one of the most powerful tools for growing your team. Stretch assignments accelerate learning by pushing individuals beyond their comfort zones, helping them develop new skills through real experience. Giving responsibility fosters confidence. When someone owns a task end-to-end, they feel more invested and take pride in the outcome. Delegation also reveals who your future leaders are. Those who rise under pressure and operate effectively with autonomy often show readiness for larger roles. This insight allows you to build a strong leadership pipeline. Intentional delegation shapes team capabilities over time. You can develop individual contributors into team leads, leads into managers, and managers into directors or executives. By delegating strategically, you're not just clearing your plate, you're actively building your bench. Delegation becomes a development engine that aligns individual growth with organizational success. Delegating in remote or hybrid teams. Delegation becomes more complex and even more critical in remote or hybrid work environments. Without the benefit of hallway conversations, clarity and structure matter more than ever. Start by using collaborative platforms like Asana, Trello, or ClickUp to assign ownership, track progress, and keep visibility high. Written documentation is essential. When expectations are spelled out clearly, ambiguity disappears, and everyone has a reliable reference. Schedule regular video check-ins to maintain alignment and trust. Face-to-face time, even virtually, helps reinforce shared goals and resolve misunderstandings. Another best practice is to build digital dashboards that provide real-time insights into milestones and progress. The key is to over-communicate. What may feel like too much information in person often turns out to be just right or even insufficient when working remotely. Delegation in distributed teams succeeds when clarity, visibility, and intentional connection replace proximity and assumption. Delegation versus abdication. Delegation should never feel like dumping. The difference between delegation and abdication lies in structure and support. Effective delegation begins with a structured process, clear instructions, context, and expectations. It includes ongoing support, where you remain available for questions and provide guidance throughout the task. Oversight is balanced. There are regular check-ins, but without micromanaging. In contrast, abdication occurs when a manager assigns a task without explanation, assumes the person will just figure it out, and disappears until the deadline. That lack of clarity, support, and feedback sets the stage for failure. Effective delegation balances clarity, what needs to be done and why, support, resources, feedback and problem solving, and autonomy, the room to make decisions independently. When you delegate with intention, you empower performance. When you abdicate, you abandon accountability. Great leaders know the difference and choose to be supportive, present, and clear. From control to empowerment. Effective delegation is a gateway to strategic leadership. When leaders stop trying to control every detail, they create space for bigger thinking, innovation, planning, and long-term strategy. Tactical execution gives way to vision and foresight. Teams grow stronger too. As responsibility is shared, people become more accountable and their resilience increases. They learn to solve problems independently, making the organization more agile and productive. Faster decisions can be made by those closest to the work, enabling distributed expertise to shine. Letting go doesn't reduce a leader's value, it amplifies it. The shift is from micromanaging tasks to developing skills, from monitoring every move to trusting outcomes. The more you delegate effectively, the more your team grows in confidence and ability, and the more you elevate your own leadership role. Empowerment isn't a loss of control, it's the most strategic form of it. Key takeaways. Mastering delegation is an ongoing journey. To strengthen your leadership, start by recognizing that effective delegation is essential. It's how leaders scale impact and develop talent. Managers who delegate well experience 33% higher team engagement, according to Gallup. Use frameworks to delegate intentionally. The 7-step delegation model and the delegation spectrum provide a structured, repeatable way to assign tasks and responsibilities with clarity. These tools help you match your approach to the context. Delegate outcomes, not just tasks. When you focus on what needs to be achieved rather than how to do it, you foster innovation, ownership, and creativity. Finally, see delegation as a development tool. By intentionally assigning stretch assignments, you help your team grow and identify future leaders. Letting go isn't weakness, it's leadership strength. Every time you delegate thoughtfully, you elevate both your team and your impact. Questions and discussion. Let's now open the floor for questions, reflection, and shared experiences. Take a moment to consider, how might you improve your own delegation style, starting today? Is there a step in the 7-step framework where you tend to get stuck or skip ahead? Maybe you've noticed a tendency to hold on to tasks too long, or perhaps you're unclear on how much autonomy to grant. Reflect on your own habits. What has been your biggest challenge in delegating tasks to your team? On the other hand, think about a success story. When did delegation go right? What positive results came from it that you didn't expect? Sharing your experiences can help others grow too. If you have further questions or thoughts after the presentation, don't hesitate to reach out. Delegation is a skill that sharpens with use, and your journey toward mastery is just beginning.